Okay, so you should debit cash for 34, right? Because you issue for $34, and then you credit common stock for 1 million, right? Because the $1 per shares, 10 million, sorry, 10 millions, right? Oh no, actually it's 340, right? So this is 10 million shares, sorry. So this is 340 millions, right? Cash. So then you issue your total paid in capital, you're gonna be 340, right? So then your total par value gonna be 10 million times one. That's why we go to 10. And then you have this additional paid in capital, or we call it paid in capital excess of par value for 330. Is that right? So this is a journal when you issue those shares. Okay.
You
So
don't you don't you don't multiply the 170 times $34 per share.
no, we just talk about the 10 million shares. Okay. The 10 million is a
Oh,
part of
oh,
is a part of 170. Okay.
oh,
Because
I got
you not to purchase back the whole 170. Okay.
I got you.
So this is just part of the 170. Okay. So because that's why I wrote it down here. Okay. To show you. Because this is going to help us when you write this journal for the first one. Okay. When you purchase back your 10 million shares, what are you going to do? You need to cancel these paid in capital, right? You're going to cancel this. You're going to reverse this. You're going to reverse this, right? That's why you want to debit common stock for 10. You debit paid in capital excess of par value for 330. Okay, so you should have two debit here. And then how much you paid? So that's going to be your cash, right? Going to be cash. Okay, how much we paid? We
32,
paid for
300.
32.5, right? So that's why total is 325, right? So 325 is the total cash we paid. Okay, so then you calculate. So you should add additional credit, right? So you want to balance this journal, right? You should add additional 15 millions credit. Okay, so this tells us what? You want to credit some account for 15 millions. So this tells us what? When you issue those 10 million shares, totally you receive $340 million cash. Now you only use part of that 325 to purchase back and cancel it, right? So like you make kind of like a profit. Okay, so again, you're dealing with the owner. The profit belongs to the owner. It's part of owner's contribution, which is part of the paid in capital. So this 15 you should go to the paid in capital. We call that share repurchase, the special paid in capital accounts. Everyone's okay with that journal?
Professor,
Yes.
for the 170, so we don't need to count for the 170. We just based on the $10 million of.
Yeah, 10 million is a part of the 170.
Okay,
Okay.
got you.
Yeah, so you issue totally 170. Okay, so now you purchase back 10 millions only.
Okay.
Okay. Any other question about the first example, first question? You guys okay with this journal, right? Okay, so then you can work on the second question. Okay, I'll give you a little more time to work on the second and number 3, number 4.
Is there a journal entry for the retained earnings part of the excess share repurchase?
Yeah, for the second situation, you need to think about retained earnings because that paid in capital share repurchase is not enough, right? For this when you work on the second, okay.
So the second one is the same as you have the original journal like a cash of the 340, and then you need to credit the common stock and the PIC.
Yes. Okay. Let's work on the second one. Okay. Second one similarly, right? So you need to consider this when you issue, right? So this journals, okay, original journal when you issue those, this is another 10 millions, right?
Mhm.
So this is second 10 millions. So when you issue these 10 millions, you have this journals, right? This is the journal you have. And
Mhm.
then when you purchase back, you cancel those shares, you're gonna reverse these two paid-in capitals. Okay. So you're still gonna debit common stock for 10. You debit paid-in capital for excess of par value for 330, right? You still have these two debit, okay? And then you have this cash credit, okay? You credit cash for how much? 360, right? So now you see that $60, right? So you spend 360 to purchase back. So now you can see when you issue, you got the 340s, okay? But you have to spend the 360s to purchase back. Seems like we have a loss, right? But again, this is not a real loss. The loss is dealing with because of you dealing with the owner, okay? So when you have a loss, this kind of so-called loss, you're gonna decrease from this account, paid-in capital share repurchase accounts. So remember, this account has 15 balance. This accounts cannot have a negative balance, right? Because this, when you decrease, you can only decrease 15 to this account from this account. So that's why you debit, when you debit, right? You debit paid-in capital share repurchase for 15. That's all you can do, okay? And then the remaining, because you have a 5, right? So the remaining, you have to decrease your retained earnings for 5. So that is the journal. That makes sense, everyone? So you have this comes from this, right? Because when you want to you do the posting, this has to be the debt zero balance now, paid-in capital share repurchase.
Can you explain one more time about a retained earning? How you
Retained
get
earning
5? Yeah.
is, because the total so-called loss is 20, right? 20 millions, okay, so-called loss. But paid-in capital share repurchase, you only have 15 balance. So you can only decrease paid-in capital share repurchase for 15. So then the remaining 5, you have to decrease from your retained earnings. You have to treat it as a real loss.
So you mean that the share we purchased $15 $50 million is no change, it's still same. But the difference.
What do you mean same?
So
Because
same as the number one, right?
this 15 comes from this 15, right?
Yeah.
Comes from the first situation. When you have first situation, you have this balance 15. You have this balance in this account. So this account has 15 balance. So when you have a so-called loss, you're gonna decrease this account, but you can only decrease up to 15. You cannot decrease more than that. This account cannot have a negative balance. Okay. So then the remaining 5 you should decrease from retained earnings.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. Any other question about this? Okay. So then number 4 is just stock issuance. Okay. So when we reissue, we sold for at 42 per shares, right? So it's just like this journals, right? Like these journals, but with different numbers here. Okay, different number here and different number here. Okay, so you can solve that problem, right? So this is just a basic situation. Okay, so let's go back to the PowerPoints. Okay, so we call this retire share situation. Okay, retire share situation. right? Remember, this is we talk about the share buybacks, right? We purchase back our own shares. Okay, so we have two situations. One is called the retire. We're going to retire those shares. Let's talk about the treasury shares. Okay, treasury shares we don't retire. Okay, we don't retire them. Okay, we don't cancel those. We keep it, and then we just in the future we can reissue it. Okay, can see the difference, right, between these two kind of situations. Okay, so this treasury stock are still issued shares, but now the company hold those shares right now. Okay, it's not outstanding shares. Okay, but they are still the issue shares. The first situation, retire shares, those shares no longer exist. It will become like an issued shares. Okay, so let's look at this treasury stock situation. So even though those treasury stock, those are issued shares, but they are not outstanding shares. They hold by the company, so they lost all of the rights. All of the rights we talk about the shares, last time. So they don't have those rights. Okay. So what we're gonna do with the treasury stock? Okay, we talk about treasury stock is a contra shareholders equity accounts. When we purchase those treasury stock, we record it at a cost. Okay, and then when we resell it, then treasury stock gonna decrease, right? And then whatever cash when we receive. Okay, so we're gonna receive those cash. Okay, so let's look at this example. So this company reacquired 3,000 shares of common stock at $55 per shares. And then later on, we reissue those part of that, right? So we require 3,000, now we reissue 1,000 shares at $75 per shares. And the question is, which of the following would be included in this, when we resell it in that journals? So let me show you those two journals. Okay, so treasury stock, again, treasury stock is different from the retired shares. Okay, we don't retire those shares. We don't cancel those shares. That's why those paid-in capital still exist, right? So remember, when you purchase back for the retired shares, you cancel those paid-in capital. That's why you revert. You debit common stock, you debit paid-in capital, except power, right? But for treasury stock, we don't cancel those shares. Okay, so those paid-in capital still exist. Okay, so when we purchase those treasury stock on May 1st, 2010, so we purchased 3,000 shares. Each shares we paid 55. So 3,000 times 55, that will be 165, right? So that's how much we spend. We spend 165 to purchase back our shares. We credit cash for 165. Now what do we have? We have this special stock. This is our own stock. We keep it, right? These are the issue shares, but we just corporation keep their own shares. Okay, so we call that treasury stocks, and those treasury stock going to be recorded at a cost. This is how much it costs us, right? 165. Okay, or in other words, $55 per shares. That's the cost of these shares. Okay, total cost is 165. So what do we have? We have this treasury special account because treasury stock 165. Okay, and we spend the cash 165. So that is the initial journal when we purchase back our treasury stock. So let me ask you, what kind of accounts is treasury stock? What do you think? What kind of accounts? Is asset accounts, liability accounts, or shareholders equity accounts?
Equity.
Shareholder.
Yeah, shareholder equity, right? So it's shareholders equity accounts. Specifically, this is a contra shareholders equity accounts. Okay.
I don't see in the example where does it say that it's a treasury stock? Like in the description
here. Oh, the question, yeah, it is treasury stock. It didn't say clearly, okay, but it's treasury stock. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, it is treasury stock. Okay, just assume it's a treasury stock.
Okay. Yeah.
Okay. And any other questions? You guys okay, right? Treasury stock. So we record it at the cost. Okay, this is the cost of the treasury stock, and this is the control shareholders equity accounts. Okay, so when you calculate shareholders equity, you subtract, right? So this is 165 at this moment. Okay, so then let's talk about the second, right? So the second journal on December 3rd, 2011. So we sold this one part of that 1,000 of shares. Now we sell it at 75. We sell it at 75, 1,000 shares. Totally, we receive cash $75,000, right? So we debit the cash for 75. Okay, and we sold the treasury stock. So like 1,000 treasury stock. Remember, original cost is 1,000 times 55, right? So that's the original cost of the treasury stock. So treasury stock account is going to decrease by 55. Okay.
So it's like from original 3,000 decrease to 1,000.
Yeah.
Right?
So this is treasury stock account, right? Because this is what initially we have 165,000. Okay. So now we sold 55. Now we sold 1,000 shares that decreased by 55,000. Okay. So now you have $110,000, right? Not the balance. Okay. So we sold this one. That's why we when you purchase, you debit, right? So now you sold, you credit. Okay. So then you can see here. So we have this paid-in capital share repurchase account again. Okay. Why we have this again? Because look at this situation. We purchase by our own shares. We spend $55, right? Okay, or $55,000. When you reissue it, when you resell it, you receive 75,000. So like we're making money, right? So we purchase by, we only spend 55. Then when we resell it, we receive 75. You're making profits for $20,000. Okay, but again, we don't want to call that profit because we're dealing with the owner, right? You purchase back from the owner, you sell it to the owner. So that's why this $20,000 should belong to the owner. Okay, should be called paid-in capital share repurchase. Question?
I have a quick question.
Yes, go ahead.
So that the 55,000 on treasury stock is you got it from like the 1,000 shares times 55 per shares, $55.
Yes, that's right.
Okay.
Yes, that's the original cost. That's how we calculate this 165,000, right? Okay, or you can say another way is you just decrease by 1/3, right? Because it was 3,000, now you reissue 1,000, 165 divided by 3. Okay, that will be 55,000. Okay. Everyone's okay with that paid-in capital share repurchase? Okay, you can see looks like we are making money, right? That's why we have this $20,000. Okay, so again, when you let's say when we resell this treasury stock, now let's say we resell less than 55, then you're gonna have some kind of loss, right? And then if you have loss, you're gonna decrease from this paid-in capital share repurchase accounts. And then if this account is not enough, just like the previous, the retirement situation, you're gonna decrease your retained earnings. Okay, so that is the situation for the treasury stock. You can see for the retired shares and treasury stock, the accounting is different. Okay, so make sure you practice these homework questions. We have homework questions regarding those. Okay, so familiar with those the differences. Okay, but no, we have this. The idea we have this paid-in capital share repurchase is the same. Okay, this is special accounts. And this is just example related to the share repurchase. Okay, so the balance sheets of this company include the following shareholders' equity sections. The common stock, we have this the $1 par value, and so total is $90 million, 90 million shares. Okay, so and total par value is 90 millions, right? So if you divide by 90, so you got $1 per shares, right? This is the par value, okay? And paid-in capital excess of par value is 540, okay? 540 is what? Is, because this is total 90 million shares. If you divide by 90 millions, you got what? The $6, right? So $6. So that tells us what? When you issue those shares, the issue price is $7, right? The issue price is $7. That makes sense, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, so yeah, and then you have retained earnings, etc. Okay, so this is what you have. So then, let's say 2017, you repurchase and retire 1 million of shares for 9 millions. Immediately after the purchase of shares, the balance in the paid-in capital, extra par value, and retained income should be. Okay, so let's calculate this. So what we're going to do is you want to write a journal regarding this retirement, right? So retire 1 million shares, right? Which is the first situation, right? The share retirements. Remember, when you retire those shares, you need to reverse your paid-in capital, right? This is the journal. You need to reverse your paid-in capital. See the common stock, right? You need to debit common stock for 1 million, right? This is the 1 million shares, right? 1 million shares, 1 million times 1, right? So you got 1 million. And that paid-in capital excess par value need to debit, right, for 6, right? Because, 1 million times 6, right? So you need to reverse that journals. Okay, you have these two debit. And then how much we paid? We paid 9 millions, right? So then retained earning will be the difference. In this case, because what? Why you just decrease retained earnings directly? You don't, because we don't have that special paid-in capital share repurchase accounts. You look at that, right? So those are all we have. Okay, we don't have that. We only have those paid-in capital accounts. Okay, so they only have these two paid-in capital accounts. We don't have that paid-in capital share repurchase account. That's why when you have a loss, you're not able to decrease from that account. Okay, all the loss is going to decrease from retained earning accounts. Okay, so then, oh yeah, go ahead.
Oh, I just wanted to know what were the 5 paid-in capital accounts again?
5 paid-in. Okay, so you have a common stock, and then you have a paid-in capital excess par value for common stock, and then you have a preferred stock, and we have a paid-in capital excess par value for preferred stock, and then we have this paid-in capital share repurchase accounts. Okay.
Got it.
Okay, so but we're gonna have more. Okay, so but just so far we have 5. Okay, so everyone's okay. So then the question is, what is the paid-in capital excess par value? That's how we got the 334, right? Because it was 540, right? So now it decreased by 6. That's how we get 334. And how about the retained earning? It was 280s. Now it decreased by 2, right? So it's the decreased by 2. You have 278. Okay. So this is just, just let you practice these journals, right? So then you can answer the questions here. Again, yes, go ahead. Yes, we don't have that balance. That's why you cannot decrease that. That balance is zero. Exactly. Yes, exactly. You're welcome. Okay, so I think that's all for the those two situations we talk about, and then let's talk about the retained earnings. Okay, one of the components of shareholders' equity, right? Retained earning. So we have this is what we have, right? So beginning balance, and then net income increase returning you plus, right? The dividends going to decrease returning, so you subtract, and then you got a balance, right, for the retained earnings. Okay, so this is the retained earnings. Okay, retained earnings. Remember, retained earnings is one of the components of shareholders' equity. Sometimes retained earnings have a prior period adjustment, right? Because we made a mistake, so that mistake affected our prior year's net income, and that's why our beginning balance of retained earning may not be accurate, right? This one is not accurate. Then you need to make adjustment. We call that prior period adjustment. Okay, to get the correct beginning balance of retained earnings. Okay, So that's the retained earning, one of the components of shareholders equity. Okay. So this one just give you the practice. What is total shareholders equity? Okay. So you can let's say you can just practice yourself. Okay. So when total shareholders equity, when you issues, you increase your shareholders equity, net income increase shareholders equity, right? You pay dividend, decrease shareholders equity. Okay. And you purchase treasury stock, and then that also decreases shareholders equity. Okay. So make sure you practice this part. Okay. So you plus minus, right? So you got the shareholder equity at the end. So now let's talk about the remaining